hope everybody's doing well today. So I got a new subject to talk about, and that's Part 107, unmanned aircraft. I recently went through all my courses and through what you have to go through with getting a Part 107 license. And so I figured I'd do this video just to give some more updated information on what you have to go through to get that license. There were quite a few questions I had that I was either getting the wrong answers for, or I couldn't find an answer for it. So I figured this would be more updated information that people can use and know what to expect. So this is going to be a quick kind of review of that. I'm not going to go into detail of every single thing, because we could probably talk about it all day. So if you already have your Part 107, then it's probably going to be a video that you're not going to watch. But if you do watch it, go ahead and comment below in your area or where your PSI testing center was, and if there's any different, anything different that you had to do recently, go ahead and comment so people can they know what to expect in their area if they watch this. So when I started this, I knew absolutely nothing about Part 107. Didn't even actually know what it was. I was into RC helicopters quite a few years back, and I ended up having to sell those and get rid of them, and I was wanting a drone ever since. And I just couldn't pull myself together to buy a good one. I had some used ones and some small ones, and could just never get to figuring out what I wanted and how much I wanted to spend. So I ended up looking every year, and I ended up getting my trust certificate. And if you're watching this and you're thinking about getting a drone, or you have one and you don't have your trust certificate yet, it'd be a good idea to go ahead and do that. It's easy. You just go online, look up drone trust certificate. It'll pop up. I recommend, only because I use them for most of my courses, I recommend pilotinstitute. So if you put in pilotinstitute trust, it will pop up. It's 30 to 40 minutes for the to go through the course. You can't fail it, and it's free, so it's easy to do. The only thing you want to remember when you do that is to copy it off and save it somewhere, because that is your only record. There is no records online of you ever taken that test. So if you lose it, which I did the first time, you have to do it again. If you decide that you need another one, you have to do it all over again, which is not hard to do. But so just keep a file of it on your email, or print it off and keep a file of it, paper file of it. So I ended up doing it first time, and then here, I don't know, I guess about 2 months ago, I decided I was going to try to buy another drone again, and I ended up going through my trust again. Did it real quick. This time I did copy it off, and I kept a couple records on my phone. So if I lose my phone, I guess I still have a paper copy. And then for some reason I started getting a lot of Part 107 stuff popping up on my phone through Facebook or whatever. So I started digging into what Part 107 was, and the biggest thing that I found with Part 107 is the reason for having it. Doesn't matter if you're going to make money off of it or use it as a job. If you plan on using your drone for anything other than your own personal use, It doesn't matter if you're going to make money on it or not. The intent of the flight is what matters. And even if you're going to go do something for somebody else for free, you still have to have Part 107. And even though I don't make money off of any of my videos or anything, I do put most of my stuff online, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. I figured I might as well go ahead and get that Part 107. So I'm covered if anything ever does happen. And so one quick note to add in right here is even though I didn't plan on using my drone for anything other than my own personal stuff, I ended up getting my 107 and then getting a drone, and now I have a lot of interest in me using my drone for more than just my own personal stuff. I have been contacted or talked to a realtor about possibly using it for realtor stuff. I do know a guy that is doing some fundraising stuff, and he wants me to use it for that. And I am in search and rescue, so not positive yet, but it sounds like the sheriff's department may be setting me up with one of their big starships, flyships, or whatever they cost. One of them big drone helicopters or quadcopters for search and rescue, and they're talking about training me up so I can use that for search and rescue, which I would have to have. Well, I don't know if you actually have to have the 107 for that or not. You actually go into a whole another section there. It's actually COA, Code of Authorization, is what you'd have to have through the sheriff's department. But it helped. We don't have anybody that flies drones for our local search and rescue, so it definitely helped getting that first, and now they have interest in using me for that. So just an added note there. So I kind of made a deal with myself that if I could make it through this course or get this license, that I'd go ahead and buy myself a drone. So I'm not sure how, but I ended up running across Pilots Institute, which I highly recommend if you want to get your Part 107 to use Pilots Institute. I can't speak for any other company, but I can for this one, and they just give you a ton of information and a ton of stuff for you to be able to take this course and pass it. And so it ended up being looked like $159. Yeah, it's $159 for lifetime access on Pilots Institute, and they just give you a ton of stuff to be able to study. It's here it says 210 plus video lessons. They guarantee you that you'll pass the first try as long as you're doing, and that's one thing that you gotta remember when you're doing it. So you gotta follow their course and doing exactly the way Greg, the instructor owner, exactly the way he wants you to do it. And if you do it that way, he guarantees you'll pass. And if you don't pass the first time, they'll pay the $175, which is how much it costs for the test. And then I believe it says they'll give you 100% of your money back. I'm not sure if that's for the course or just the $175. But they pretty much guarantee you to pass the first time if you follow their instruction. And then there's lifetime access, real exam questions, cheat sheets. So he gives you all kinds of sheets. They've made up all kinds of sheets for you to be able to study and memorize and remember the information that you really need to retain to not only to pass your test, but stuff that you should know while you're flying. There's mobile and offline access. So I use offline access quite a bit. I'm a field mechanic, and I will be out of service a lot of times. So when I wanted to review, go through the chapter reviews, it's all audio. So you could save those to your phone, and I can listen to that stuff while I'm headed to a job, or or while I'm at the job and I'm by myself just working on something. I have something to listen to, and I listen to that quite a bit. So there is a flashcard app, which is another thing you get. See if I can pull it up here. So I don't know if you can see this very well, but there's so it'll have a question, and then you flip it over and it'll give you the answer. So that's a lot of stuff that I used I would use this at night. I'm getting ready to lay down. I could go through these and kind of read through and see which ones I know and which ones I need to work on. They also have, here's this pretty small print, but cheat sheets that they have for multiple things that you can read through. They also have like it's a circle app that is kind of like a Facebook just for the people that use his, I mean, he has more classes than just the drone stuff, but it's kind of like I guess a Facebook for his community. It's just a ton of information that he gives you, and it's lifetime access, so you can take as long as you want. If it takes you a month or it takes you six months, you could keep going through this stuff, and it's on the phone and on the computer, so you could go either way if you want to do it at home. He also goes through and gives you everything that you need for like studying. So here's one book. This is the one book that I recommend. This book here. This is the actual book, and I'll get into this probably more later, but this is the actual book that you will be issued when you take your test. So they'll tell you, look at page whatever, figure whatever, and what does this mean or what does that mean, and that's the book. And I think it's nice having that right here. It's the questions that you use on his course are also out of that book. All the other books, there's some other books, you could get them if you want. If you don't, I did buy, I think, one other book, but everything else, I mean, he supplies links where you could download everything, and you could just look at it on your computer if you don't want to spend the money to buy all the extra books. See what else was there? Just a ton of stuff. I went through it in about, I went through it the first weekend. I get 3 days off, so I had 3 days to study it. Really wasn't getting it. Wasn't picking a lot of it up. So I went ahead and went through it another weekend, and I really started getting it then. They're all videos, so, and he has models and stuff that he explains everything in the videos. So everything's videos. So each I don't know, module you go through, I guess, like loading and performance, you'll go through that. You go partway through it, and then there's going to be a quiz. You take the quiz. If you get, I think he wants to get like 80% or better on that quiz before you go forward. If you don't, go through it again and retake the quiz and do that until you get that 80%, then you move on to the next one. And you keep going through, and it just easy the way he has it all laid out with all the videos, and then he gives you all the extra information. Books, he does give you a lot of stuff to review if you want to read and review, or advance in that subject. He'll give you a lot of stuff to read and advance in. So I think it was like 2 weeks for me, and I'm horrible at testing in this study and stuff, but it was about 2 weeks I went through every video basically twice, and then while I was at work I listened to the audio reviews. And then I'm not sure. So another note I have here is be careful with YouTube videos. I would start a course like this that you're confident that they're giving you the right information, and kind of watch and learn that before you go through too many YouTube videos, because I have watched only really one video and then I quit watching them, but they do have videos where you could watch a video for an hour and you're supposed to be able to pass this course. They give you all the information you need. Well, that one video, which was new, after going through the course once and then watching that video, there's a lot of misinformation, and the way he was worded and things was kind of horrible. So just be careful and do your research if you're going through just YouTube videos, because some of the stuff for me was misleading and just wasn't right for what I learned when I went through the course itself. So, all right. So then he also helps you with actually getting. So I don't know that I'm going to go through every single detail on how exactly you get all of get everything, because it gets kind of complicated, but he does go through every single, because you have to sign into like 2 or 3 different websites to even apply for the license, and he's got videos and courses on all that too. So he helps you from the beginning to the end on doing this. So after you go through, there will be, at the end, there will be final testing quizzes. That's what do you have? I think it's 60 questions in 2 hours is what you have. So yeah, it is 60 questions in 2 hours. So when you get to the end of that, and this is where a lot of my questions started coming in, and a lot of things that I really didn't get good direction for, and that is moving on to how to get into testing and getting to a PSI center to take your test. So the first problem I had was you have to go to a PSI website to sign up for your test. So I went to the PSI website and I signed up, and it told me it's PSI True Talent is the website. And so you go there and you create an account and you sign in. And the first problem I had was it told me that I could go to my local Coast Guard station, and that was the closest testing facility for my area. And actually I found that before I started this whole thing, because I didn't want to have to travel very far to take my test. And I thought, well, that's nice, because the next place is only a couple hours away, but I didn't want to have to go too far and spend any more money on this than what I had to. So I get through everything, and then come to find out when I go to actually sign up for the test, that I can't get a hold of anybody at this Coast Guard station. And of course, they're a base, a military base, so you can't get on there without proper authorization. And after calling several people and not getting a hold of anybody local, I ended up having to change my plans and go to a testing facility further away, which was, I'm in Coos Bay, Oregon, and I had to go to Eugene for to go to an actual PSI testing center. So the other things that you'll run across if you're doing research, and depending on who you talk to, is they'll tell you that one is the charts in here and the stuff in here that you have to read is in really small print, and it could be extremely hard to read depending on your vision. So people will tell you to take a magnifying glass. So I bought off Amazon, and the other thing was they said that the room was dark, so they couldn't see because of the light. To get a magnifying glass with light in it, and take that, so you can use a magnifying glass and you could see. Another thing was there's some basic math questions that you're going to have to answer, is to get a calculator. But if you get a calculator, don't get one that will, it's got to be a basic calculator that can't memorize anything, can't save anything on it. I don't know what else there was. And so to come to find out, I ended up having to wait another week and a half to take that test, because now I had to reschedule for an out of town deal. And then I take everything with me, and come to find out, and I don't know, it might be different for different testing centers. I don't know if this is a new thing, but I couldn't take any of that with me. So I bought all that stuff, and not that I paid a bunch for it, I bought it all off Amazon, but I couldn't take any of it with me. So the nice thing was they supplied everything. They had a magnifying glass in there, they had a calculator in there, they actually have these books, and then they have a sheet of plastic that you can put that plastic over it, and they got rulers and probably like a dry erase special magic marker that you could put on there, and you could draw lines when you're trying to figure out your coordinates and find different spots on these maps. You might have to read the coordinates on the maps, or might have to find, 12 nautical miles this direction. You're trying to look for certain things on these maps, and as much information that's on them, sometimes it could be hard to figure out. So there's plastic, and you can mark that stuff. You don't want to mark in the books, but you can mark on there and make things easier to find. They supply you with I believe it was a sheet, like the sign-in sheet. It has your name and everything on it. They supply that for you, so you can write on the back of it for notes. You can't keep any of the notes. They'll take all that from you when you go out. So one point that I was trying to make here, and I didn't really say what I was trying to think there, but a good idea if you're going to take your test is call the testing center and see what they allow you to have and not have, because that was kind of my problem that I had here. Was I bought extra stuff, and I took extra stuff with me, and then found out I couldn't even take it in with me because they supplied it and they didn't want you taking any extra things in with you. So I just call and see if you get what kind of answers you can get out of them. I'm assuming they set all these places up the same, but there's been people that said that they've needed magnifying glasses and lights and whatever else. So yeah, just give them a call and see what they say. You don't want to take anything in with you, which I kind of knew that. Sweatshirts, you got to take your sweatshirt off, you got to take your hat off. The lady in front of me, they actually pulled her eyeglasses off and were inspecting her glasses, so I'm not sure what they were looking for there. Watches, any smart watches. If you do go in with any of that stuff, my center had It was like a plastic folder, kind of like this, and it zipped on the top. And you stuck everything, or it was a bag. You put everything in the bag. When you zipped it, I didn't know this until I was done, but when you zip it all the way closed, it locks. And they take it and you hang it on the back of your chair. And then when you come out, they have to unlock it for you to get your stuff out. But it was a nice center. It was big. There's other people in there. They did provide you with earmuffs, since there are other people in there. If anybody's making any noises, you can put the earmuffs on and you could concentrate on what you're doing. You're in cubicles. And it was I was surprised there were a lot of people in and out of there. I'm sure for all kinds of different tests, but it was easy. One thing to know, that if you're not sure in a question, in fact, I just seen this the other day. Somebody says you could take and write that question down, and you could go back. So if you mark the question, you were not sure, or you just don't mark the question, you can move forward, and then you get done. And there is a timer on there, so that's another thing. You can either have it on or off. It's on the computer. You could click it so you can see that it's on, or you can click it so it's not there at all if it bothers you. But you can watch that timer, and if you have plenty of time, you could go back to questions and review those questions to make sure that that it's the answer that you wanted to give. See what else was there. It is kind of confusing. Something you have to go through and answer some questions. I kind of joke that they almost strip search you when you go in there, and then you have to fill out a paper saying that you don't have anything on you and you're not going to cheat. If you do cheat, then you forfeit everything. I do believe that if you sign up for a test, I don't know if it's 24 or 48 hours, if you don't cancel that test and you can't make it, you do forfeit your money. And then of course, if you fail the test, you forfeit the money. So you want to make sure that you're ready to go before you go there. Yeah, I think you pretty much get through the test, and when you come out of the test, they'll print out a paper. They'll print out a paper like this, and then on the other side some of my personal stuff. So, but it'll say right on there, I passed with an 88%. Give you the date and a FAA tracking number. Oh, that's another thing. So before you go in to do your PSI, you have to get an FTN number. And I don't remember. That's just a tracking number, which is, again, this is something that you'll go through if you use this. I think it's the IACRA page. When you go in, you have to go there first. Integrated Airman Certificate and Rating Application is what IACRA stands for. When you create an account there, I believe that's where you get your FTN number. And then you go to the PSI website, create an account with them, and then set up your test date. I believe, and it actually, another thing is, I haven't looked this up, but another thing that is kind of cool, if you're interested in what you missed, there's some codes on here, and I haven't done this yet, but you're supposed to be able to go to a website and enter these codes in, and it will show you what you missed. So I've got 5 codes here and I think it might be multiple questions in each code, I don't know. But you can go through and check to see what you missed. I didn't check to see what I missed. So once you do that, then you have to go in, which I did this immediately. I went out in the parking lot and went into the IACRA, and you have to enter this information yourself into IACRA. So when you enter this stuff into IACRA, and like I said, I entered it as soon as I got out of the testing center. I got into the car, got into IACRA, and I entered this stuff in, and I think it actually took a day or two, and it will pop up down here. Let's say your existing applications, and it will show your remote pilots test, and it will give you, I think after a couple days, it gave me a temporary. So you'll have a temporary certificate to be able to use until you get your permanent certificate, and that certificate is good for, I believe it was 120 days. And it will say pending on the top of it for your certification number. But you're still good to use it until you get your permanent. So as far as that goes, and this is another thing that I heard multiple answers for, but for me, it took a couple days to get my temporary, and then it took, let's see, I took my test on 6/21, so I'd say by 6/23, I ended up having my temporary. It said temporary, and the other thing is, if you want, I don't know if I said this or not, but if you want a copy of this temporary, you need to click on it and copy it, because as soon as you get your license, it goes away. So if, I don't know, some people like to have that and frame it or keep it for whatever reason. If you want that, a copy of that temporary airman certificate, you need to copy it off right away. So then by 7/11/24, that temporary went away from me. So I'm assuming they were getting ready to send out my license. And by the, I think it was by the 22nd, so just over a week later, I ended up getting my license. Of course, you got to get your own lanyard and stuff, holder. It just comes with just the license, and then it comes with some information. Some information on how to keep up with that license, because the license is, there's no expiration date on it, but every 2 calendar years you have to not renew it, but you have to do some training just to stay current, and then you'll have to print out, I guess, paperwork saying that you've done that training every year and how to stay on top of that information. In fact, I think I got that thing right here. Yeah, you have to go to pilot safety website and do pilot safety training. Which I know one guy that, since I've done this, I found out had a license, and he just had to renew his or do his safety training. And with that safety training, you can't fail it. It makes you go through the information, and it's not a pass-fail thing. It'll make you re-answer the question, I guess. Go through the information again and re-answer the question until you get it right. So it's not something that you fail and then then they take your license from you. So now, when that temporary goes away, it says on here now, it says my certificate number, and then I have a remote pilot certificate and what day it was issued on. Which is funny because it says it was issued on the day that I took my test. So I guess it goes back to the day that you take your test, which I guess that's another thing to keep in mind, that to do your recurrent testing, you have 2 calendar years. That's from the day you took your test, not from the day you took your license. So it's just over a month. It took right around a month for me to get my actual license. So you don't want to wait until the day you got your license, because then you'll be a month late on doing that testing. So I'm not sure where I'm at. I think I recommend printing everything off myself. I have a I have everything on my phone, but I have all of my paperwork. I did say that what I was going to do was, if I passed, was to get a drone. I ended up getting the drone before I passed my test, because I ended up getting it with a Father's Day sale. So I ended up getting, and of course, there's a new drone coming out. I ended up getting the DJI Air 3 with the Fly More kit. Another thing I guess I could show, since it's just, and this is kind of cool, if you do get your license, or if you plan on flying a heavier drone to where you have to have your registration and all that, these stickers on here I got from Pilots Institute. They're free. You just send them your information. So I have my registration number on here. It says if found. It has my phone number on here, and it has my expiration date for my my registration stuff. And then it has says that I'm remote compliant, ID compliant. Those are free stickers you can get from Pilots Institute to put on here, so you're not it's a little more clean. You're not writing on here with a marker. I did waiting for those stickers to show up. I ended up taking a piece of paper and some clear tape, and I wrote everything on a piece of paper, and then put clear tape over it and put it on one of the arms. But yeah, this is the drone I ended up getting. I guess I could make a video on it sometime. There's lots of videos online for them. It came with the RC controller with the display on it. I made my own lanyard pieces. Just what were those, 4mm bolts? Welded some nuts to them. Just a piece of paracord, just something. Not having to hold on to it the whole time if I don't need to. And then the battery pack with all the batteries. I marked all my batteries, so I know that I'm not using the same batteries all the time. I could use them, make sure I'm using them evenly. I don't know if it matters or not. Not sure what I missed. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I can try to answer them, or make another video and kind of add to it. I think for the most part, most of the questions I had was just the stuff going in the testing center, because like I said, I was super nervous. And then they didn't help going in there, because you go in there and, you know, it's empty your pockets and check this and check that. You can't do this, you can't do that. And you fill out, they'll give you a piece of paper you got to read through. It's two-sided. And all it's basically is don't cheat, because if you do, they're kicking you out, and I don't know when they'll allow you to come back. If you do fail the test, I think you have 2 weeks before they'll let you come back in and do the test. So I'm almost guarantee if you do the Pilots Institute You don't have to worry about failing the test. Just follow what he tells you to do and how to do it. I know he has said in there that people have gone through and they didn't go through the course. They just went through the questions, the quizzes, memorized all the quizzes, and then that didn't do them any good because the questions that you get from like his course, they may be real similar, but they're worded differently. And so you just need to make sure that you go through the information and do it. And he does do, I think it's 15 hours. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I think it's 15 hours of videos. He doesn't just teach for you to pass. He teaches for information that you need to know. He wants you to know as much information as you can. So you should know what you need for the test plus a lot more. So well, I think that's going to be it. Not sure what I missed or didn't miss. I know it was about 2 months. So, all right. Well, if you have any questions, throw them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. Hopefully I did all right. I'm trying to get better at the whole videoing thing for you.